Hello, and welcome to the P-Card Log Walkthrough Video Part 3. In this video, we will cover what is a chart string, what is your new default chart string, new terminology and how to crosswalk an old budget code into a PeopleSoft Chartstring, and how to transfer P-Card purchases using the Chartstring budget transfer section of the P-Card Log. If at any time during this presentation you have any questions or need any help, please email the Procure to Pay department at p2p@pierce.ctc.edu. What is a chart string? What is typically called a budget code is called a chart string in PeopleSoft. This chart string is made up of a sequence of chart fields. Each chart field captures a different element of information related to the transaction, and it is used to categorize the nature of the transaction. The chart fields that make up a chart string are the account number, the operating unit, the fund, class, department, appropriation, grant project and activity, and finally the state purpose. So let's look at each chart field one by one. The account number is a 7-digit number that classifies the nature of an expense. What was known as the sub-object code in our legacy accounting system is now called an account number. For example, what was known as EA00 for general supplies and materials is now account number 5030010. A list of account numbers and how they crosswalk over from our legacy system sub-object codes can be found on the Procure to Pay webpage. The operating unit, abbreviated OU, represents the physical location of where a good or service is used to the best of your knowledge. The value of the operating unit is that it allows budget analysts to see how and where money is being spent across the district. We have 3 operating units. 7110 is for the Pierce College District, 7111 is for Fort Steilacoom, JBLM, Western State Hospital, and McNeil Island, and 7112 is for Puyallup. It is important to remember that the shipping location does not always equate to the operating unit. The operating unit is where the money used for goods or services is being spent. For example, if the Human Resources Department orders office supplies for their staff, because HR staff are district employees and the items could be used at any location, they would use the District Operating Unit 7110. Or, if employee X works at the Puyallup campus but needs to order supplies for an instructor at Fort Steilacoom, employee X would use the Fort Steilacoom Operating Unit 7111 because the supplies are being used at Fort Steilacoom. Another example would be if the Puyallup Student Life Department took students on a skiing trip. Even though the event happened off campus, the event was still held specifically for students at the Puyallup campus, so they would use Operating Unit 7112. There are more examples of how to choose the correct operating unit on the Chartstring Help tab located on the P-Card Log, or you can email the Procure to Pay department if you have any questions. The next 3 chart fields are the fund, class, and department. The fund, class, and department numbers are linked to a coding system which categorizes by type to indicate both the sources of the financial resource and the nature of activities financed. These numbers crosswalk directly from the budget code you have used previously. The fund number is still the fund number. The program number is now known as the class number, and the organization number is now known as the department number. You can find the fund, class, and department numbers on the signature authorization spreadsheet located on the K drive under Info. It is important to note the Procure to Pay department cannot help you choose your fund, class, and department number. If you don't know what to use, please talk to your department dean, director, or budget analyst, and they will direct you to the appropriate budget sequence to use. Next is the appropriation field. You will fill in the appropriation chart field only if you spend capital project money. For most P-card users, this field will remain blank. Rarely do we use capital funds with the P-card as the payment method. Next is the grant project and activity chart fields. You will only fill in this chart field if you are spending grant funds, otherwise they will remain blank. To find out the project and activity numbers associated with your grant, please contact the district budget analyst in the finance department. The last chart field is the state purpose chart field. The State Board of Community and Technical Colleges is tracking IT purchases through this chart field in PeopleSoft. For every purchase, we must choose between 3 options. X for expenditures for IT acquisitions and new development, Y for expenditures occurred for IT maintenance and operations, and N for null, meaning the expense was neither a new IT purchase or maintenance. Since all purchases for computers, servers, software, telecommunications, and operating systems must be done through the IT department, all P-card users will have null in their default chart string. Very rarely will a P-card user change the state purpose of their expense. Now that we've covered the anatomy of a chart string, let's talk about your new default chart string. The Procure to Pay department has crosswalked each P-card user's default budget code to the equivalent chart string for the CTC Link Go Live transition. A spreadsheet has been published to the Procure to Pay webpage. Please check your new budget code and verify that it is correct. If you believe your budget is incorrect, please talk with your Dean, Director, or Budget Analyst to confirm, and then send an email to the Procure to Pay department, and we will change your default chart string in our records. As an exercise, let's crosswalk the Purchasing Department's default budget code over to our new default chart string. My legacy system default budget code is as follows. My fund is 149, my program is 083, and my organization number is 09VC. Like the majority of you, my sub-object code is EA00 for general supplies. Now I'm going to crosswalk this over. Since my sub-object code was EA00, I'm going to look at the account number spreadsheet and look up its equivalent, which is 5030010. Next, I'm going to fill in my operating unit. For my default, I've chosen 7110 for district. This is because my position and the Procure to Pay department are considered district services. We serve every campus and employee in the district, so my purchases for my department would be classified as district. Now I'm going to crosswalk my fund, class, and department. I'm going to open the signature authorization spreadsheet. I'm going to search for my legacy system organization code, which was 09VC. And here you will see my fund is 149, my class is 083, and my department is 33103. No one will put an appropriation number as part of their default because it's only listed for when we're spending capital funds, so I'm going to skip that section, as should you. Next is grant project and activity. The purchasing department spends state funds, so I'm going to skip this part as well. But if you spend Aspire, Trio, Upward Bound, or Perkins funds, you would need to fill out the project and activity number as part of your default. And finally, we have the state purpose, which I'm going to put as null. And now my chart string is correct and ready to use. Now that we have our chart string ready, let's talk about when we need to transfer to a different chart string or change the nature of the purchase. Previously, when we reconciled your P-card log, we would put your default budget code in the lower right-hand corner of your P-card log. This budget code was assigned when you originally applied for your P-card. Each month, when the P-card master bill arrives, the Procure to Pay department charges all of your transactions to your assigned default chart string. If a purchase is supposed to be expensed from a separate account or needs to be reclassified in nature, you would do a transfer. If you are transferring to a different chart string or changing the nature of the expense itself, you need to put the whole chart string in, even if your fund, class, and department is not changing. In 2 years, when we do convert to using PeopleSoft for reconciliation, this will be required for every purchase. Getting everybody into the habit of entering a full chart string when doing transfers will help you to familiarize this practice. It also puts less stress on the finance employee who has to enter each transfer by hand, and by having all that information present helps them to do this process more quickly and efficiently. As an example, here is a transaction for office supplies from Office Depot. I'm going to transfer this to the finance department's operating budget. My account number is going to stay 5030010 because the expense is still general supplies. My operating unit will remain 7110 for district because the finance department is a district serving department. The finance department's fund, class, and department are 149-002-33102. I'm skipping the appropriation and grant fields because my expense was neither made with capital funds or grant funds, and I'm entering N for the state purpose. My whole transaction is being expensed to this chart string, so I'm going to put my whole receipt total, and my transfer here is now complete. Now, if I change this to where I owe use tax, I need to communicate that this amount is also being charged to the finance department's chart string as well. So I'm going to add this amount in. You can add up to 3 separate chart strings in one line, like this. If you need to allocate an expense to more than 3 chart strings, you can use multiple lines below to do this, like this. Remember, you only have to do a transfer if an expense needs to be from a different account other than your default chart string, and your default chart string remains constant throughout the year. We hope this video was helpful in familiarizing you with the new PeopleSoft budget structure called Chartstrings. Please remember to watch the other P-Card log walkthrough videos for more information about the P-Card log. If you have any questions, please email the Procure to Pay department at p2p@pierce.ctc.edu, and we will forward your email to the appropriate finance employee who can answer your question best. Thank you so much.